Hi guys, welcome back to Rts Share Tea, where respiratory therapists live out loud. With me, your host, Linda Fry, the asthma lady. Yes, welcome everyone. Welcome to anyone new. And I'm back from vacation. I have been spending some much needed quality time with the family, so I took a little break, but I'm back. I just want to say thank you to everyone that was giving us some love on our 14th wedding anniversary. So that was a few days ago. So we feel the love. Thank you for the shout outs for those who, saw the pics on social media and whatnot. So super excited to be back. I have some energy. I'm happy. So we are going to talk about September Asthma Peak. All right, we are in the month of September, and why not talk about September Asthma Peak month? It is here. It is upon us. All right, so that's what we're speaking on today. So before we can speak on September Asthma Peak, we have to understand what is asthma. So asthma is a chronic lung disease, right? So chronic meaning that it is with us for the rest of our life. So we do hear often, oh, I grew out of my asthma. Well, what I like to say is you can grow out of your shoes. You can't grow out of your asthma. And asthma is something that can be dormant in the body. It could be chilling until something, an issue pops up, or you are exposed to something that triggers the asthma to come back up again. And so that's why we say it's a chronic lung disease of the airways, right? So think of your airways as the branches on a tree, and you have those small branches that get smaller and smaller. So think of your airways something like that. So for those of you that can see, so we have our normal airway. See, it's nice and open, right? So the tube, nice and open. Here it is. Yes, I hope you can see that, right? And so with those of us that have asthma, we start to deal with mucus, okay? And then we deal with inflammation, right? Swelling. And then we have muscle tightness. All right. So then the airway, it's really tight. It's a smaller airway. So that's the problem with asthma. So those are the main things that are happening. And so during September, this is a time that gets really worse for us, for those of us with asthma. So as September is a time when asthma flare-ups a lot. And so we see a lot of patients in the ER and being hospitalized, especially pediatric patients, the most in September. Why? It's a combination of things why this happens. One, we have the weather changes. So we have superstorms, changes in temperature. Those that experience things like wildfires, those areas, this is a time where this happens a lot. So, and then we have exposure to things like mold because of rainy season. So this is also often another trigger for those of us that have asthma. We also have back to school time, right? So a lot of the kids are going back to school. And what I say is back to school equals back to germs. Okay. So we have the spreading of germs. And usually the younger kids, they get sick first, right? Because they're indoors with other children, and then they go home, and then usually this is spread to the rest of the family. So this is why those that have asthma, this is a September, we get that time. With that being said, back to school time, remember this is also a time that when folks are usually returning back from being on vacation, so they have to get back on the swing of things, back into the the usual routine, and this can be stressful. So it's also a stressful time. This is when traffic is usually back up, for those of us that are in the city, New York City traffic is usually horrendous around this time because everybody is back to school, back to work. And we also have allergy triggers around this time. So those that are allergic to things like ragweed pollen, this is a high season for that. And we already spoke about mold. So being exposed to mold because we also get a lot of rain around this time. And we also can't forget respiratory infections. So your RSV, your cold, your flu, your COVIDs, all of these things are flared up around this time. So this is also contributing to the asthma hospitalizations and having to use the ER and having to use more medications. So yes, all of these things combined make September a high peak season for asthma attacks, asthma episodes, flare-ups, and having to use the ER, the emergency room, and being hospitalized. So we keep our eyes open around this time, and we like to spread awareness and making sure folks are aware of this time period. What you can do around this time is start to take notes. Take notes on your phone or just plain old paper and pen and track what is triggering you. So are you finding difficulty having breathing? When do you find yourself having to use your inhalers? So those type of things. Keep track of that. On top of that, make those doctor's appointments. So go see the doctor or your specialist and tell them what's going on, that you notice, hey, something is changing, and you are aware that this is September, and during this time, it might be an issue. So start the conversations with your healthcare provider. Speaking about the healthcare provider, also make sure you have an asthma action plan. So this is that plan of action when you do start to not feel well, and what to do when everything is okay, and to just know the steps of, things are not starting to look right, and what to do. And everyone having access to this plan, especially for children. We want to make sure they have an updated asthma action plan. You can also get your flu shot and consider taking other vaccines accordingly. And this would be, the ideal time once we said this is a high season for respiratory infections. So thinking about stuff like that. And also, don't forget to wash those hands often and properly. So yes, I have a 3-year-old, and I tell folks often, we practice washing our hands. And so this is a habit that I want him to have. So we want to make sure we have good ventilation in the home. So, for those of us that don't really have those options, we can consider using an air purifier, so things like that, making sure we are disinfecting areas that are used often. I usually tell folks those light switches, just disinfect those light switches and high traffic areas, anything that folks touch or areas that they use quite often. And just managing stress, right? So stress is also an asthma trigger for a lot of people. And once again, because of the back to school and coming back from vacation and getting back to this routine, it could be a really stressful time. So doing things like, finding just a few minutes to take a deep breath and just slowing down, practicing self-care, utilizing things like breathing techniques, all can help with September Asthma Peak, okay? And just managing with this stressful time. With that being said, I want to invite you guys to those of you who are dealing with asthma. Take care of those with asthma. I am a program advisor for the Black Women's Asthma Alliance. Yes, with the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. And so we have something called Wellness Wednesday Sing Along. Yes, so this is a time where we get together and just be supportive around this time, especially during September Asthma Peak. So yeah, like I said, this is a one of those times where a lot is going on for those of us with asthma and allergies. And so this is a great time to check in and unite and have a fun time doing it. So what we do is we have sing-alongs, which help us with breathing techniques. Yes, getting those nice deep breaths. Okay, so I just want to invite you guys to that, and that happens on Wednesdays around 7 o'clock ish. All right, so I will put in the information in the description below. So here it is. I have a little, I hope you can see that. So yes, we have the Black Women's Asthma Alliance, right? And we do the Wellness Wednesdays sing along, and yours truly will be live in our Facebook group. All right, so we go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. ish, okay, Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys, so I hope that you learned something here today. Let me know if September is a problem for you. Do you notice a difference if you have asthma, or if your your students, your kids, and anyone that you're taking care with asthma or allergies, if they have a specific issue around this time? Do you notice the difference? Chime in, let us know. Let me know if I forgot to mention anything. Sometime I'm just going off the dome. Know that we are growing together. We are here every Wednesday, except for when I'm on vacation. We are on Spotify and most podcast platforms on Wednesdays, and we are on YouTube on Thursdays. And there is so much more to come. Know that we are growing together. Yes. All right, guys. So remember to invest in yourself and to only compete with yesterday's version of you. I'll see you next time.